Hello besties, welcome to my August bullet journal setup, and you guys are not going to believe this, but for my theme this month I actually used, wait for it, water-based markers and not alcohol markers. Oh my goodness. If you are new to my channel and you don't know what I'm talking about, I've been using alcohol markers for the artwork in my bullet journal themes since like April. March was the only month so far this year that I haven't used them. January and February I also used different mediums, and that's so out of the ordinary for bullet journalers because water-based markers are most common since they don't bleed through pages. And so for like only the second time so far this year, I'm going to do a quote-unquote traditional bullet journal theme and use fine liners and markers like a normal person. But I cannot wait to show you guys this finished setup. I was really excited with how it turned out, and let's just get right into it. So my theme this month is kitchens, specifically like one particular kitchen. It's giving very much farmhouse, cottagecore, really adorable aesthetic. If I had this kitchen in real life, I would cry with happiness. I actually came up with this theme very much last minute. I filmed this video this morning as the day I'm recording this. It's Tuesday, and up until Wednesday at 5 p.m. I did not have a theme idea. So if you guys think that I really spend time planning out my themes in advance, too often it happens very last minute like this, where I just come up with an idea the night before, sketch everything, plan everything, and then the day of I'm, filming, editing, all that stuff. But, a girl's gotta work, okay? I have things to do. I gotta get this done as fast as possible. Anyway, I'll stop rambling, but the kitchen idea was actually inspired by this creator on Instagram. I totally am blanking on her name right now, but I'll put it here on the screen along with the picture that she posted that inspired me to do something like this. I also had a lot of pictures that I found on Pinterest that I'll also put here that gave me ideas for this kitchen, but the drawing itself is completely my own, just taken from different inspirations. And let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in a printable version of this cover page art or an art print. I've been thinking about doing that again on my online shop. If you didn't know, I do have an online shop. It's themingostudio.com, and I sell a couple other printables and also an undated bullet journal, and I'm trying really hard, by the way, to give my shop international shipping so I can ship the journal to the people all around the world because I've gotten requests to do so, and unfortunately I only ship to the US right now. But keep your eyes peeled on my channel, on my content. I will hopefully be posting about that soon when I can get that to be international. Anyway, I'm rambling in this video so much. Oh my gosh, I don't have a script or anything. I'm just speaking, which is why I'm going on these tangents. But focusing on the artwork right here, you can see that the first cover page is a countertop, and I have a beautiful backsplash, a huge bucket farmhouse sink, and then lots of cabinetry and then open shelving on top. This idea of a kitchen that is very homey, warm, lots of plants, maybe some of them are herbs that the person who lives in this house is growing, a huge window right above the sink to let in a lot of sunlight, although I'm imagining like late dusk, evening, sunset light, because in my head the kitchen theme works with August because August is like the end of the summer. It's the last bit of summer rays before we finally slip into fall. So the colors are giving a little bit fall, but the vibe is still like kind of clinging on to the end of summer. Maybe it's harvest season if this kitchen is on a farm, so the herbs and plants would make sense because they're finished growing at the end of summer. Those are like the vibes that I'm getting. So I know that this theme, when it's done, since I use a lot of like browns and greens, looks very like autumnal, but I am getting like late summer vibes from it. So maybe you guys can see it, maybe you can't. Personally, I feel like I've done a lot of themes with brown and green recently, and also pink. That's basically my go-to comfort color palette because it's like my favorite colors all put together. Last month I did a mermaid grotto theme that had a lot of green and pink flowers and beige buildings. The month before I did a hourglass theme in the desert, so lots of browns and golds. The month before I did hot pink, and the month before I did greens and browns for a Tinkerbell theme. So really I haven't done a different color palette in a while, but also I did a lot of blues at the beginning of the year, so we'll see what happens in September. Maybe I'll just do something crazy out of the ordinary to shock y'all, but like I said, when I plan things last minute like I did for this theme, I go back to my roots, and my roots in this case is my comfort color palette. Speaking of roots, let's talk about why I am using water-based markers here and not alcohol-based markers, because I think that my channel has kind of almost become notorious for using alcohol markers in a bullet journal. I've made multiple video tutorials about it. I've had multiple plan with me's where I feature alcohol marker art, and as much as I love using alcohol markers and I've really found a groove in using them, I just really felt like using water-based markers this month. I don't really know how to explain it. I really do like the effect of drawing on separate paper and then either pasting it or gluing it into the journal. I think it works really well, but I was kind of missing the very traditional, I don't want to say stripped down and simplified because this is not simple at all, but more like drawing directly into your journal is a comfort thing for me because when I first started journaling, this was all that I did. So it really takes me back to my roots, and I'm glad that I did this. It seemed just a very homey, comforting theme, end of summer, warm color palette, palette. Like, it seems very much a comfort zone. I keep saying those two words, but that's what it feels like to me. So I'm glad that I did an original style of artwork as well to kind of match the vibes of everything. We're kind of finishing up this artwork here on the front page, but although this is the cover page art, there will be a similar page replicated on the back of the setup that we will talk about in just a few minutes. But just finishing up everything with multiple shades of brown and green. Since I am using water-based markers, the marker can be pretty streaky, but I kind of use this to my advantage by adding streakiness in like the wood grains of the green cabinets or the brown shelving, or sometimes the plant pots. I just really leaned into the streakiness to add that, like I said, wood grain, but also just authentic feel. Nothing's going to be perfect. There's going to be shadows and lines and everything everywhere, and that's totally okay. I know a lot of people who hate having the streakiness and the lines overlapping with water-based markers, but if you can use them to your advantage, it really does make your artwork look even more homemade and authentic. Overall, I think that it looks really, really good. Kind of bottom heavy as far as the color goes, but I'm okay with that, and I'm excited about it. In general, my artwork I feel always looks better with the sketch than it does with color in it, so I did prefer just the gray sketch, but I always do, I'm not gonna lie. But I am proud that this came together really, really well, and I used water-based markers, so that just proves that you can do it with your stationery at home. All right, moving into the first actual bullet journal spread, this is going to be a calendar spread with the goals page underneath. And I did want to talk for a second about the structure of this setup as a whole, because if you guys saw at the beginning, I'm actually using a huge Dutch door setup in this entire bullet journal. So you will see me add the washi tape to the tabs in just a minute, but basically what I did when I set up this entire theme was I counted how many spreads I would need for the entire month. So first page has a cover page and calendar, then we're going to have a tracker spread, then we're going to have 5 weekly spreads because August has 5 weeks in it. And then the last spread is where we will have a monthly either reflection or a to-do spread. I'm not sure if I've decided yet. And then my second big piece of artwork in this setup. And that is all basically visible on this page because all the Dutch doors are already cut for you. So it's almost like the entire month is wrapped in 2 pieces of artwork, and inside is going to be all the content and productivity stuff. Now, why am I doing this? Number one, because I like creating beautiful art, but I am so busy right now that I don't really have time in my weeks to be creating multiple weekly spreads with lots of art and decoration. And also, I am not in a huge creative boost right now anyway. Like I said, I enjoy creating beautiful art, but I'm not like constantly wanting to create. So being able to batch a lot of my spreads at the beginning of the month is super helpful because then I can just write in them during the month and not have to worry about making weekly spreads consistently. Now, I will be making the weekly spreads since they're not actually sketched yet, but it's going to take a considerably less amount of time because I don't have to draw much artwork. The artwork is going to be visible from the cover page and the last piece of artwork on both sides of the spread, so it really does save me time in the long run, even though it does look very complicated and time consuming now. I've made multiple videos teaching you how to make Dutch doors. I will link one down below where I did the Dutch doors in my June weekly spread. I made an entire YouTube video for it and really talked about how to make Dutch doors if this looks really complicated and confusing to you, especially if you're a beginner, so that'll be in the description box below if you're interested. I've been doing this Dutch door thing, at least similar to this, for the past couple months just to save time, and it's worked really well for me, so I can see myself doing this a little more in the foreseeable future. But this is the first setup I think where I've done an entire month in literally one spread. It's been a while since I've done that, so it took a little bit of work, but I really like how it looks, and I love the scrappy washi tape because I think it really matches the homemade traditional scrappy vibes of the kitchen. Like, the person who lives in this kitchen definitely scrapbooks and definitely has washi tape in my head, so I like the way that those colors and designs kind of fit the vibe of the overall theme. Okay, so we're getting into the artwork on the last spread, and this is kind of what I was talking about when I said that the entire setup is wrapped in 2 different pieces of art. So this may look very, very similar to the cover page, and it actually is supposed to be like that. In my head, if you like took out all of the pages of the Dutch door in the middle and you only looked at the front cover page and the back artwork, it almost looks like one continuous countertop going all the way across. You just have this sink on the left and the stove on the right. So basically I did the exact same cabinet style, countertop style, shelving style. I just cluttered it with a little bit different things, different plants, put them in different places. And of course, instead of a sink and a window here, we have a stove and a stove hood. I think it looks really, really nice. Overall, recently I've been getting a lot more into interior design and decorating. My sister really loves interior design. She wants to be a designer when she grows up. And she's actually been really into The Sims 4 recently, which is a video game where you can build and design houses and then have your characters play in them. And she's gotten me pretty hooked on it as well. I love building houses in the game and designing my own like styles of rooms and buildings and stuff. So that's part of what inspired this theme as well, is just my recent interest in interior design. And like I said, if I had a kitchen like this, I would just cry of happiness. I think it's so cute and quaint, and I love this style, which is why I liked including it in my bullet journal. Now, one thing you may have noticed that I haven't actually brought up yet is I am not using a black fine liner at all in this setup. I actually did not use a single bit of black anything in the entire setup. The pen that I am using to do all of the fine liner for everything that I've drawn so far is actually this fine tip end of an Ohuhu brush pen. So the big cap that you're seeing actually holds a brush nib end, but the Ohuhu color art markers have double tips, and the fine liner is really, really fine. It's like a pen on its own, and it's in a very warm brown color. And I decided to do this for multiple reasons. Number one, I think having a warm brown be the fine liner of everything just brings a lot of warmth to the spread. Like I said, I want the room to feel cozy and homey, and black is a neutral color, yes, but when paired with a lot of warm colors like browns and greens and golds, it looks very cool toned. So I felt like using a brown fine liner would really just encapsulate the warm vibes here. And also, since brown is essentially lighter than black, even though it is a dark brown, but it is lighter in general, it makes the fine liner not as stark, which means that it looks less like a drawing and more like an actual photo, because you don't really see the outlines as much as you would if it was a dark black. So multiple reasons to do this. I really like this style. There is this creator, I think her name is Bujo Blossom or Blossom Bujo. I'll put her name on the screen here. She does this a lot by using fine liners in darker colors instead of black, and I really like that she does it. It's a beautiful style. And also I did this myself like years and years ago. I think it was September of 2020. I did a mushrooms theme and all my fine liner was in brown instead of black. I don't recall that I've done that since. I may have done that since, but I can't remember. Either way, I think it's a cool technique that I honestly need to utilize more often. And if you guys want to make your spreads just a little softer, just a little warmer, or possibly cooler if you used like a blue or a purple, you could do this in any color essentially, but it might be fun to try to replace a black fine liner with a color instead that matches your color palette. Try it, see if you like it. This might be something that I implement more into my bullet journal style just because I really like how it turned out. Now, one of my favorite parts of this kitchen design here is the backsplash. I'm a backsplash girly. I love beautiful, beautiful designs, and I was actually taking inspiration from this picture here on the left where the backsplash like tiles had little flowers in the corner so that when you put them in pairs of 4, they had like a flower when they intersected. And so I took that inspiration by doing flowers where the tiles met and then just little diamonds in the middle, and I colored them in with pink. That was like the little highlight of pink in the spread. There's not much, but some of the pots, flowers, and the backsplash had the little pink elements in it. But because I liked the backsplash design so much, oh my gosh, that is such a hard word to say, backsplash, say that 10 times fast. Because I liked it so much, I used it a lot in the other spreads. So you saw on the calendar spread, I used the backsplash to fill in the parts of the calendar that was not August, like the 3 days of July and the 1 day of September. I completely colored in with that same design. I also am going to use it in the next couple spreads you're going to see in just a few minutes, and I think that's a really cool way to tie in the artwork into the other spreads. Obviously I didn't have much space to do like a full kitchenette in all of the spreads since the Dutch doors are smaller and they are reserved for only the actual organization and productivity part of a bullet journal, but I like including the sparkles, the backsplash, and little pots and plants and things things like that to tie little details from the artwork into the other spreads just so they're a little bit more busy. But it's simple and fast to do. So during the weeks where I need to make spreads for weekly spreads, it honestly should only take me like 10 minutes to whip one together because I'm really just drawing, 7 days a week, a notes box, a couple backsplash tiles, and maybe a potted plant. Like, it's going to be really, really fast in comparison, and that's why I like this Dutch door technique. So really coming full circle with this voiceover, like I said at the beginning, I feel like I'm rambling just a smidge because I don't have a script. I mean, I usually don't, but I usually have some bullet points that I want to talk about. Right now, I'm just raw dogging it. But like I said, full circle, everything really comes together in this setup. It's really just the same motifs of coziness, warmth, that kind of thing, and I am enjoying it. So this spread here is the tracker spread. On the left is my expenses page, and on the right are my habit trackers. I intend to fill in the habit trackers with the brown marker if I can. So when the month is done, if I do all my habits, this will be a much darker spread because the calendars will be filled in with brown boxes, but that's how habit trackers always work. On the left, on my expenses tracker, I have 3 columns. One is for the date, the description of the expense, and then the amount. I call it an expense tracker. Technically, it is just a general money tracker because I track money that comes in along with money that goes out. But just in general, it's like all the expenses added together. I didn't actually label the rows or the columns in this chart, unfortunately. I meant to, but I just forgot, but I'll go in and label them on my own. Now, one unfortunate thing is that I will be labeling them with black pen because although, like I said a minute ago, I wanted to keep black out of this setup, when I do usually just write in my bullet journal like on a daily basis, I use just a regular black ballpoint pen, and I don't have a brown one. So if I had a brown one, I would use that, but I only have a black one. So unfortunately, when I write in these spreads, they will have a little bit of black in it, but the artwork itself is brown, and that's what counts, okay? So don't be mad at me for that. Moving into the first weekly spread of August, I wanted to do the first one on camera. So like you can see on the top, there's that one row of tiles, that backsplash element coming right in, and it's honestly very easy to do. It looks small in particular, but basically each tile is 2 dots wide and 2 dots tall. There's a diamond in the middle, and then just little flower petals where they technically intersect. Super easy to do, and if you want a tutorial on it, I can do one on like Instagram Reels and TikTok and everything, but I don't even think you need a tutorial. Just like zoom in really close, take a screenshot, and you'll know exactly what I drew. For my weekly spread itself, I have 4 rows on each part of the page, and because the Dutch door is actually cut pretty large, like I didn't really cut that much off of the edge of the pages, it's a pretty big spread, which is nice because August is going to be a very busy month for me as I continue to post on multiple channels, because if you didn't know, I do have a booktube channel that is always linked down below. I'm also moving back to college at the end of this month, so there's going to be a lot going on, and I definitely want to have space to plan. Now, the rest of the weekly spreads I am not going to be doing in this video, but you will see them posted on YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikTok throughout the month. I always post on those 3 platforms about 3 times a week, so lots of content going out if you guys don't already follow me on those platforms. And also, of course, is a good time to plug a subscribe. So if you have not subscribed to my channel already, definitely do. I post bullet journaling videos every single Saturday, and I would love, love, love to see you guys here next week. Anyways, we have finally gotten to the end of this setup. This is the flip through. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it's giving you the warm end of summer kitchen vibes that I was trying to emulate here. On the very last spread, there is going to be a monthly, I think, to-do list that I didn't do on camera, unfortunately, but I'll film that for a short later this month. But yeah, that was the entire setup. I hope you enjoy. Again, subscribe, of course, to my channel if you are new here and haven't subscribed yet. Right now is actually a great time to subscribe because next week I may or may not be hosting a giveaway, so stick around for that. Sending you guys so much love. Have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you next week.